Okay, no, actually, it doesn't smell that good. It smells like latex. Hey, it's Sandy from Balloon Utopia and Market with Balloons. And today I'm gonna teach you how to make a fantasy flower. That is a flower that is made out of uninflated balloons with wire inside, and we can get all kinds of really neat shapes and depth and different textures that people don't expect and won't recognize as balloons. So, sit back and I am gonna show you how to make a fantasy flower. All right, here we go. 1, 2. Did anybody catch it? All right, well, here we go. Let me show you how to do this. We need uninflated 11-inch balloons, and I accidentally brought some of the wrong materials, so I'm just gonna tell you what you should have rather than what I did. So we're using these agate balloons, but one of the challenges with these agate balloons, they're so pretty, but they're also a bit thicker than a normal balloon. That's gonna present one challenge in what we're doing today. The other problem is that I brought the wrong gauge floral wire. So the other thing that we need is floral wire. And ideally, I think you probably want a 14 gauge, and I think that I've got maybe an 18 gauge here. It's really thin, it's very flimsy. So the floral wire that you want is one that you can easily bend with your hands, with your fingers, without hurting yourself, but not so flimsy that under the stress of the balloon that it's gonna collapse in on itself. So what I'm going to do, because I brought the wrong gauge floral wire, is I'm gonna try to use 2 pieces at once. And in that way, get a little bit more thickness. As long as you're using a thicker gauge wire, you're not gonna have to do this. So this is just to make up for the mistake when I pulled the box to come up to YouTube. I took the wrong size. All right, and then the other thing is we have floral tape. Normally I would use green floral tape, but I brought the white one so that you could see it better, thinking that I was shooting on a black background. But you can see it against my shirt. So this is floral tape, which as you stretch it, kind of gets a little bit sticky and tacky. So these fantasy flowers, they're so much fun. And once you start with these, there's so many different designs that you can do with them. You could use it as dresses, as people, whatever. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to cut off the nozzle. And that's because we want to have an easier time inserting the wire. Okay, and like I said, I'm gonna take 2. Normally you would only use 1 piece of wire, but you would use a heavier gauge than what I've got. And we're just gonna bend it in half, just like this. And then you're gonna kind of insert it into the balloon. Like that, okay? And so at this point, you're just gonna leave it kind of folded. And what we wanna do is we wanna bring this balloon down pretty far so that it kind of stretches it out. And then we're gonna take a piece of this floral tape, and we're gonna cut it off. And hold on, I'm gonna hold this so that you can see how far down I've brought it. And you see that the stress is making this bend, even though it's doubled. So again, if you're using a heavier gauge wire, the stress is not gonna bother it as much. And so then what we wanna do is we wanna start up here and then kind of wind our way down. Now the reason we wanna start up higher is because we don't want the balloon to pull out of the floral tape. And if you start it too low, it will. So you gotta kind of find the happy medium between what part of the petal is not going to be seen, but where it's going to be high enough that with the stress, the balloon's not gonna pull out. Okay, so I'm just wrapping it. You see, and I'm kind of pulling it as I wrap it, just like you would electrical tape. And then I'm gonna kind of go back up and down. So again, that just kind of reinforces it that much more, especially since the floral tape sticks to itself better than it sticks to anything else. Okay, so you're just gonna kind of do that for a while. And then, just gonna, there we go, finish that off. All right, now you can see that ideally you can get it pretty flat, and so that you can kind of shape those petals. These ones that I have here, they have a little bit of air in them. And so they're kind of puffier, but we're just gonna pretend that they're not. And so this is gonna be one of those do as I tell you and not as I did videos. But this is how you want it, so that it's pretty flat, no air in there, and that the wire is giving the petal the shape, like that. All right, so now you're gonna take a bunch of your petals, and basically you're just gonna kind of gather them together. And the taller ones, obviously you'll probably wanna put on the outside, and the shorter ones kind of on the inside. And so we're gonna just kind of put them all together like that. See, this one, you see it's pulling out, that the neck was cut too short and the balloon is pulling out of the floral wire. It wasn't going up high enough. And so we're just gonna kind of keep collecting them. Now, if you wanted to, you could take a 5-inch round balloon with a puff of air and kind of trap that in the center. Or you could put some 260s that are just with a puff of air in it, kind of sticking out of it. For simplicity's sake today, I'm not putting anything in the center of it. Okay, so now that we have them all gathered as a little bouquet, we want more floral tape. And we're going to go around all of the tapes together. Now, some people will kind of cut them at this point so that they have less bulk here. And if you're making something that you're not going to be able to hide this in the design, like if you're making a corsage or you need something more delicate, that might be a good idea. But I feel more secure, you know, having more bulk so it doesn't pull out. And so this is going to be great, for example, in a centerpiece design where I can stick this whole part in and all you're going to see is the head. Okay, so I'm just going to keep putting this down. And the other reason that I'm not clipping it is because I forgot my wire cutters. Because I was very prepared today when I came to YouTube. There we go. Now you can see that we have, I'm sure there's a word for it, I don't know what it is, but we have them all kind of put together. So now we're gonna peel our layers down. Just like, and kind of twisting them, so there's our good flat one there. And just kind of twisting them as we go and peeling them down and shaping them. And the flatter that you get them without air in them, the better that your flower is gonna look. So this example is not necessarily the very best one. I'll insert some pictures of better ones that I have. So like this one, the way it's puffing out that you can see that it's a full balloon is not what we want. What we want is like this one where it's really flat, because then people really aren't sure what it's made out of and they freak out over it. Here's a picture of a centerpiece that's using these fantasy flowers, and you can see what it looks like when they're all pulled nice and tight the way they should be. Although with the puffin and the depth, it could make a cute little skirt if you want it to make like a little fantasy balloon person, a fantasy person. But anyway, that's the basic technique. Obviously, you know, you could go more layers if you want. You could use 5-inch balloons and have smaller petals on the inside. I wanted to share the technique with you, and I can't wait to see what you guys do with it and how you embellish it. And please come to my Facebook group, DIY Balloon Art, and show me the pictures of your fantasy flowers, because I know that once you guys start doing this, you're gonna fall in love with it, and you're gonna come up with so many ideas and so many amazing designs with it. There are some people that have developed amazing techniques to create all different kinds of flowers. I'll admit that I basically kind of stick with your basic rose, palm, daisy kind of flower. There are some people that do like incredible orchids and really amazing fancy things. So there we go, that is your fantasy flower. And if you like this video, please hit the like button. Make sure that you leave me a comment. Tell me what else you want to learn. What else can I share with you? I put out videos every week, and I do look at all of your comments, and I do keep a running list of what you guys want to see. Also, subscribe to my channel and tell everyone you know to subscribe to my channel, and of course, head on over to Amazon and pick up my books. Well, until next time, go forth and balloonify!